Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, let's break down the upcoming game releases for the second half of 2025 that might finally pull you away from your backlog, or at least add to it. Grab your coffee, and let's get into it. Cover some stuff that were kinda under the radar or not talked about as much, like Digimon Story, Time Stranger. A new Digimon Story game that was actually announced 8 years ago. The first trailer we got was at the State of Play back in February. This game seemingly aims to bring back some gameplay elements from earlier games. If you like Digimon like I do, this is something to keep an eye on as it's releasing on all platforms except on Switch, which will eventually get a port, I imagine. Another one of those rock climbing indie games, described by the developer as a quote-unquote survival climber. The art is cool. Hopefully the full game is as well. A demo is available, so you can see if you like it. And the Guardians of the Sacred Tree looks like it could be good. I'm kind of going off of mostly the art style on this one. I like the 2D character art, as well as the in-game art. It's a roguelite, so of course reminds me of Hades. I guess we'll see if it holds up. We first saw Sword of the Sea in 2023 during Sony's PlayStation Showcase. The studio behind this game was founded by Matt Nava, who was an art director for the game Journey, which this game is definitely reminiscent of. If you like that game, or any of the previous games of the studio, this should be right up your alley.
Beneath the streets of Rome.
There's also some DLC coming out like Indiana Jones and The Great Circle, The Order of Giants. The base game surprised a lot of people with its puzzle-heavy, Tomb Raider-like level design, especially because the first gameplay looked a little awkward. Building on Machine Games' strong base, this DLC seems like it will explore the story of the Nephilim Order along with new puzzles, traversal challenges, and maybe even supernatural elements. This was revealed at the Xbox Game Showcase and is dropping in September and is said to have a tighter, more focused narrative chunk with 8 to 10 hours of content.
Defend the secret.
Age of Mythology, Retold, was a breath of nostalgia for me. Even though I haven't played the first DLC, it seems like it was pretty good. It's nice to see that the developers are committed to supporting this game with more content, and I'm looking forward to the release of Heavenly Spear this fall. Just like last year, we're also seeing a lot of remakes releasing this year. After Shadow dropping Oblivion Remastered, Virtuo Studios are back again with Metal Gear Solid Delta, Snake Eater. Announced back at PlayStation Showcase 2023, this, as you know, is the full rebuild of the classic in Unreal Engine 5, while keeping the original systems intact. As someone who has never played the original, I'm excited to experience this beloved title for the first time. For those of you who played it, let me know how you view the remake compared to the original in the comments below. Gears of War Reloaded is a full remake of Gears 1 with completely redone cutscenes, motion capture updates, and modernized cover mechanics to feel like Gears 5, but with the brutal simplicity of the original. We'll see it in August, and yes, chainsaw duels look crisper than ever. The classic cult arcade shooter returns with better visuals, updated aiming, haptic feedback, online co-op, and re-recorded cheesy voice lines we all secretly love.
All we need to do is wait.
It's supposed to drop on August 7th. This is a remake of the classic arcade game series Double Dragon. Or is it a reboot? I'm not familiar with this series, so let me know if y'all are pumped for this one. With that covered, let's continue on with Demon X Machina, Titanic Scion. The original Switch exclusive, Demon X Machina seemed like a mecha lover's fever dream with insane aerial dogfights and flashy metal-on-metal combat, but it ended up lacking depth in its gameplay. The devs have expressed that they are looking to fix that in Titanic Scion. This time, you're not just fighting mech, you're taking on kaiju-sized biomechs in way more open biomes and environments, shifting the scale of battles to a ridiculous level. There also seems to be a much bigger type of mecha, called heavy armor, that is similar to the arsenals from the first game. It also showed improved mobility, customizable core systems, and co-op raids with multi-phase boss fights. The overall combat tends to look like it's leaning much more into action combat than its predecessor. I don't know if this is necessarily the right decision when the concern with the previous game was that it was hollow if you cracked its surface. I guess we'll see when it releases in September. Even if it ends up being good, the one thing I will miss from the first game is the art style. Let me know if you guys prefer the new, more realistic art style over the old one. Lost Olicide is that solo dev project that you've seen clips of since 2016 and has since become a full-fledged action RPG under Sony's China Hero project. Think Final Fantasy XV's world mixed with Devil May Cry's combat, giving you air combos, slick teleport dodges, and particle-heavy special attacks, open environments, complete with stylish, snappy combat, and a K-pop protagonist with a sassy dragon. The art very much looks like any Eastern MMORPG with doll-like characters. It low-key also kind of reminds me of Forspoken. Hopefully the comparisons stop there. The devs so far have confirmed a deep skill tree, fashion system for your weapons and armor, and a photo mode to capture every particle effect-heavy finisher. I hope the claimed depth in RPG mechanics are reflected in the final product. After years of teasing combat and open field traversal, it's finally dropping this August. Looking forward to how this turns out.
You must.
I'm sure you've seen this clip of a pickup truck mowing down armor-plated soldiers before. This is that game. Kingmakers lets you take modern weapons and vehicles back into medieval England, rewriting history with M4s against knights. It's not just a meme game. It's a physics-driven sandbox where castle walls crumble under RPGs, knights charge with lances against your SUVs, and you command your army in a hybrid RTS FPS system. It's a shower thought idea realized into an actual game. I still can't believe this exists. First teased with chaotic gameplay clips last year, it's planned to release in October with mod support and full online co-op, letting you and your friends siege castles with drones, modern artillery, and good old swords. Dynamic weather and a day-night cycle change tactics mid-battle, and the emergent chaos means every fight turns into a highlight reel. This is the chaos sandbox you didn't know you needed. Borderlands 4 is finally real, set on a new planet with fresh vault hunters and a promise of less force quips while retaining the loot shooter chaos. If I remember correctly, we first caught wind of this during a Gearbox leak, and it was confirmed at Gamescom with a cinematic teaser showing the new world's vertical canyons, alien wildlife, and bandit factions in a civil war over Iridium. The devs claim improved drop rates, quality of life co-op systems, and crossplay at launch, with environmental storytelling revealing more about the Iridian civilization. Expect a bigger emphasis on builds with new skill trees and a revamped artifact system that changes your traversal abilities. Think double jumps, wall runs, and grappling hooks to make combat flow smoother. It's dropping in September, so get ready to watch your screen explode in numbers again. If you've enjoyed the videos so far, consider subscribing for more gaming content. Leave a like, and hit the bell icon and write a comment about this video. I'd really appreciate it. Let's continue with the video. This is Double Fine's next game, Keeper. We first saw this game in the Xbox Game Showcase, where we saw that we play as a weathered lighthouse. Yes, you play as the lighthouse as it sprouts its crab-like legs made of tree roots with a bird companion. The artists for the game have done a phenomenal job of creating a strange but beautiful world that is unsettling at first glance, but you can't look away because you are captivated by what is in front of you. We don't have much more to go on other than the announcement trailer, so look forward any news and reveals preceding its launch in October. Little Nightmares 3 is shaping up to be a slight change from its predecessors while keeping core elements like eerie atmosphere and stealth-based platforming. It introduces two new protagonists, Lo and Alone, navigating a new world called the Spiral. Unlike the first game, which was solo, and the second, which featured an AI companion 6, the third game will offer full online co-op, allowing two players to team up. Players will also use character-specific tools to solve puzzles, adding a new layer to the environmental interaction. Developed by Supermassive Games rather than Tarsius Studios, it's a fresh take on the series, but one that's sparking conversation. Fans seem cautiously optimistic. I like the expanded environments and co-op features, but not particularly sure about how the new studio might handle the tone and storytelling. Some worry that the introduction of tools might shift gameplay away from stealth and simplicity, which are hallmarks of the franchise. Others are disappointed by the absence of local co-op. Still, strong visuals, emotional tension, and the promise of post-launch DLC has me hopeful that this will capture the same unsettling magic as the earlier games. It's out in October, so all eyes are on how well this evolution sticks the landing. Slay the Spire 2 is shaping up to be a thoughtful evolution of the original deck-building roguelike. The core gameplay, strategic card-based combat, procedural map progression, and character-specific decks remains intact, but Megacrit is layering in new mechanics like enchantments, afflictions, and quest cards to deepen strategy. The sequel also introduces new slayers like the Necrobinder, alongside returning favorites like Ironclad and Silent, each with expanded archetypes and reworked cards. Notably, some previously class-specific cards are now colorless, opening up more cross-character synergy. The switch to the Godot engine and a full visual refresh has me curious, especially with modding support and lore expansion on the horizon. However, concerns linger around missing characters like Defect and Watcher, at least at launch, and how new mechanics might affect balance. The game is still single-player, with no confirmed multiplayer, and will enter early access in 2025. Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is finally clawing its way back after years of delays and studio changes, and based on trailers, it's shaping up to be a bold reimagining rather than a straight sequel. It's aiming to recapture the immersive, choice-driven RPG magic of the original. Set in a neon-soaked Seattle, you'll join a newly embraced vampire navigating clan politics, moral choices, and power struggles in the underworld. The game leans into 3 distinct playstyles: strategic stalker, action brawler, and narrative adventurer. Combat looks visceral, with powers like telekinesis, blood magic, and mind control offering flashy combos and stealth options. The original Bloodlines is a cult classic known for its deep role-playing, branching narratives, gritty atmosphere, and Bloodlines 2 is being pitched as a spiritual successor. That sparked concern over its more linear story, voiced protagonist, and limited clan selection at launch. The devs have promised mod support, expanded endings, and post-launch DLC with more clans, but some longtime fans worry it's straying too far from the immersive sim roots. Still, the new gameplay footage shows promise, and the October 2025 release has people watching closely. If you waited for a true immersive vampire RPG, hopefully this is it.
I was born in.
Hell Is Us is a third-person action exploration game set in a war-torn nation overrun by supernatural entities. The game ditches traditional open-world design, no maps, no quest markers, no compass, and instead leans into exploration driven by instinct, environmental cues, and NPC dialogue. It remains to be seen whether they nail the exploration or if it just becomes tedious at the expense of chasing immersion. Combat is melee-focused, with weapons like swords and axes, and a drone companion named Copy that helps in both fights and traversal. The game isn't a Souls-like, but it does feature deliberate, timing-based combat that demands patience and adaptability. Performance concerns have also popped up, especially after demo tests showed shaky frame rates on high-end rigs without upscaling. Still, the game's unique tone, haunting visuals, and emphasis on personal discovery have earned it a cult following ahead of its September 4th, 2025 release. Whether it nails the balance between mystery and clarity is still unknown, but it's definitely one of the more daring titles on the horizon.
Get ready for an adventure.
The Outer Worlds 2 is aiming to expand everything the first did right. Dark humor, branching faction conflicts, and offbeat space exploration. Expect bigger planets, deeper RPG systems, and a revamped companion system with expanded personal quests. The game keeps its first-person, single-player format, but introduces larger environments, improved mobility, like sliding and double jumping, and a deeper character creation system with permanent traits, quirky perks, and flaws that react to your playstyle. Combat has been overhauled with better gunplay, throwables, and wild science weapons, like a shrink ray that lets you punt enemies or a sword that rewards attacks synced to music beats. Dialogue choices and stealth mechanics are more nuanced, and you can switch between first and third-person views. The tone is shifting too. Devs say it's less silly, more absurd, with a darker narrative that still keeps the franchise's satirical edge. I honestly recommend watching the dedicated developer direct they did on the game. It just shows how much Xbox is riding on this release with all the bad press they've been getting this year. Deservedly so. It feels like Avowed walked so Outer Worlds 2 could run. With a release date set for October 29th, 2025, and Day 1 Game Pass support, it's one of the most anticipated RPGs of the year. Hopefully this will scratch that Bethesda sandbox itch. It's real, it's coming. It's Silksong. Play as Hornet in a sprawling, vertical new kingdom with expanded combat options, faster traversal, and new crafting systems for tools and traps. It's built to be a challenging, elegant platformer with tight controls and a haunting soundtrack. Unlike the Silent Night from the first game, Hornet is voiced, faster, and more acrobatic. Her combat and movement are built around silk-based abilities, grapples, and aerial finesse. Silksong builds on the original's tight platforming and Souls-like combat, but adds new layers. A quest system, craftable tools, over 150 new enemies, and a sprawling vertical world filled with towns, NPCs, and secrets. Healing now uses silk instead of soul, and Hornet's needle weapon behaves differently than the Knight's Nail, offering more dynamic combos and ranged options. The game also introduces Silk Soul Mode, a post-game remix that adds new challenges and mechanics for veterans. After years of delays and radio silence from Team Cherry, expectations are sky high. Some worry the sequel might struggle to match the original's emotional depth and handcrafted feel. Others are just thrilled to finally see Hornet take center stage. The game is scheduled for a 2025 release, with Day 1 support on Xbox Game Pass, and will be available on PC, Switch, PlayStation. This seems more like spiritual successor than a direct sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. Set 300 years after the original, you play as Atsu, a lone mercenary on a revenge quest. This new entry takes you to snowy modern-day Hokkaido, focusing on stealth-heavy gameplay with Ronin and Ainu influences. Expect snowdrifts hiding enemies, weather affecting stealth, and dynamic patrol routes. The shift away from Jean has definitely drawn some criticism, but personally Tsushima felt like a self-contained story that I was satisfied with. So I'm all for a new story and protagonist. Mechanically, it's a major upgrade. Atsu can wield a wide arsenal, katana, dual blades, spear odachi, and even firearms, each with unique upgrade paths and combat styles. There's a new clue card system for exploration, letting you interrogate enemies to unlock quests and locations. You could disarm foes, pick up their weapons, and even be disarmed yourself. The game also introduces camping, where you cook, play music, and interact with allies like the Wolf Pack, a group of NPCs who offer gear and story progression. Customization is deeper than ever, with armor sets, sword decals, charms. Atsu's legend grows as you progress, attracting tougher enemies and bounty hunters. You can even track bounties placed on yourself for extra rewards. First teased during State of Play, it's launching in October on PS5.
What I can tell you now is that
This is a lot of people's most anticipated game for this year, and rightfully so. It looks absolutely gorgeous, and is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious open-world action RPGs in recent years. Pearl Abyss's long-awaited project is the RPG your GPU will hate you for. With physics-heavy combat, seamless world streaming, and dynamic weather systems. It blends Witcher 3 inspired exploration with Black Desert's combat fluidity. The game blends grounded melee combat with fantasy elements like telekinesis, elemental weapon infusions, and even wrestling-style grapples. You'll fight dragons, siege castles, and explore a world that reacts dynamically to weather, time, and your choices. It will be interesting to see how the combat compares to Black Desert. I've seen some previews say the combat feels overwhelming, and there's also concern that the open-world structure hasn't been fully shown yet. The game is set to release in late 2025, and this is the big thing to look out for RPG fans.
I'll kill the Dark Dragon myself.
Ninja Gaiden 4 is the long-awaited return of the legendary hack-and-slash franchise, and based on trailers, previews, and dev interviews, it's shaping up to be a high-speed, brutal evolution of the series. You'll play as a young ninja from the Raven Clan, fighting through a cursed, near-future Tokyo plagued by the reign of Darkrot, a supernatural fallout from the return of the Dark Dragon. Series icon Ryu Hayabusa is also playable, though you as the main protagonist this time around. Gameplay-wise, it's a fusion of Team Ninja's precision combat and Platinum Games' stylish flair, with new mechanics like Blood Raven Form, which lets you manipulate blood for devastating AoE attacks. Classic moves like Izuna Drop and Flying Swallow return, alongside new traversal options like rail grinding, grappling, and wall running. Combat is faster and gorier than ever, with dynamic environments that collapse mid-fight and enemies that demand quick reflexes and strategic counters. The switch to a new protagonist and the collaboration with Platinum Games has sparked debate. Some worry Ryu is being sidelined, and others are concerned about monetization hints like Ninja Coin in deluxe editions. This comes out in October. Silent Hill F is the next major entry in the iconic survival horror franchise, and based on trailers, dev interviews, and fan reactions, it's shaping up to be a bold departure from the series' usual formula. Set in 1960s Japan, the game follows Shimizu Hinako, a high school student whose town, Ebisagaka, is swallowed by a mysterious fog that twists reality into a grotesque nightmare. You'll solve puzzles, explore eerie environments, and face off against disturbing creatures in a world that blends psychological horror with Japanese folklore. Mechanically, Silent Hill F leans into melee combat, environmental storytelling, and choice-driven narrative. The game introduces new monsters and features puzzles grounded in emotional trauma and cultural symbolism. Think scarecrows and shrine imagery. It's being developed by Neobards Entertainment, with writing by Ryukishi07, who is known for the anime Higurashi, promising a haunting and layered experience. I'm excited about the fresh setting and psychological depth, but it's also a concern as it's a shift away from the traditional Silent Hill town and the franchise's lore. There's also worry about the developer's limited track record and whether the game will feel Silent Hill enough. Still, the September 25th, 2025 release on PS5, Xbox Series XS, and PC has horror fans watching closely, and the release I'm looking most forward to.
シュウ君、嘘ついてるよね。